Hello everybody, it's Mac here, and we are going to be solving equations now by factoring out the greatest common factor. This is very similar to the what's the same, what's left over that I did in the factoring section. The biggest difference is that these are all going to say equals 0, meaning that I'm going to solve for x now. Before, we didn't have to solve. And just as a reminder, you can find all this at maxtutorials.com. So make sure you go there, like, subscribe, ask questions, comments, and let's have a conversation. All right, so let's go on this one. Whenever you see any kind of a problem that you have to solve for 0, the first thing you should do is see if you can factor anything out. And on number 1, what's the same? 2x. What's left over? X minus 6. And we did do that in the whole factoring section that we went through. Okay, so now if I can make 2x equals 0, then 0 times x minus 6 will be 0. Cool, let's solve. Divide each side by 2, and I'm left with an x equals 0. Now, same thing with this. If I can make x minus 6 equals 0, same thing. So once I add 6 to both sides, I get x equals 6. Boom, I get 2 answers. And that's exactly what I want. Okay, let's keep going here. I'm going to go on the number 2. I'm going to go left to right now. I'm going to pull out a 3x, and I'm left with an x plus 7 equals 0. 3x equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0, divide by 3, x will equal 0, subtract 7, and I'm going to get x die equals negative 7. So if you notice, take a look at number 1. If I have x minus 6, I want a positive 6 to make it say 0. Number 2, if I get an x plus 7, I want a negative 7 because I want to make it 0. So I would really go the opposite sign when I get there. Let's use that thought process to help us maybe do some shortcuts. I'm going to pull out a 4x, and I'm going to be left with an x minus 7 equals 0. Well, 4 times x, 4 times what is going to be 0? That answer is always going to be 0. X minus 7, what do I want it to be? I want it to be a positive 7. Let's go to number 5. I'm going to pull out a 5x, and I'm going to be left with an x plus 2 equals 0. That's an x plus 2, okay? So now, 5x, 5 times anything, 0 is going to be 0. And here, x plus 2, how do I make that a 0? I give them a negative 2. And that's how I solve. That's kind of the little shortcut, okay? Let's go on to number 5 here. I'm going to pull out a 6x. I'm going to be left with x minus 4 equals 0. 6x equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. I'm going to get 0 and positive 4. Number 6, I'm going to pull out a 7x. When I do that, I get an x plus 5 equals 0. My answers are going to be 0 and negative 5. Let's go on to number 8. I'm going to pull out an 8x. What's left over? X minus 7 equals 0. 8x equals 0. X minus 7 equals 0. I'm going to do this one fully out. That's 0. And this is going to be x equals 0. And this one I'm going to add 7 to both sides, and I'm going to get x equals 7. I'll do this one full out too. I'm going to pull out a 9x, which leaves me with an x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so 9x equals 0, and I set x plus 2 equals 0. Every factor, remember, factor means it's being multiplied, and so these are the two factors, the 9x and the x plus 2. And then when I go solve for that, boom, boom, die, x equals 0, and then once I subtract 2 to both sides, boom, die. I'm going to get an x equals negative 2, which is the opposite of what's in the parenthesis. All right, let's keep going here, guys. Good job. Number 10, I'm going to pull out a 10x, and I'm going to be left with x minus 3 equals 0. When I see a 10x, that's just going to be 0. That's just going to be a 3. I'm doing my shortcut on this one. 12x, parenthesis, x plus 4. That's my what's the same, what's left over. That's going to be 0. That's going to be a negative 4. Do you see it? Okay, so let me do about half the steps on this one. Ooh, well, 14 going to 70. Let's see. That looks like a 5, and it is. 14x, I'm going to be left with x minus 5 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to go 14x equals 0, and I'm going to go x minus 5 equals 0. That's the setup, and I'm going to get 0 and positive 5 as the answer, because 5 minus 5 equals 0. Okay, let's go ahead and do the long one on this one. I'm doing this in all different ways just to make sure that you guys will understand this, okay? So here's the long way. I'm going to set that equal to 0, and I'm going to set that equal to 0, and I'm just going to treat them like two separate equations. Divide by 15, x equals 0, boom, minus 3, boom, die, x equals negative 3. Okay, and if you're cool with that and you understand that best, do it that way. Okay, let's do this one. I'm going to pull out a 16x, and I'm going to be left with an x minus 4. Okay, and that equals 0. That's going to be 0. That's going to be positive 4. What if you don't pull out the greatest common factor? What happens? Do you know? Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to pull out a 9x, which is wrong. And I'm going to get 2x squared plus 8. Okay, equals 0. Now what you have to do is you have to realize that, whoa, hang on. Now actually, well, sorry, not 2x squared, that's a 2x. Sorry. Okay, you should see here that you can pull out another 2. And when you pull out another 2, it'll be 18x, and you'll have an x plus 4. What if you didn't see that, though? Just curious. What would you do? 9x equals 0, and 2x plus 8 equals 0. Now, the answer is going to be negative 4, but let's see if we still get there. Divide each side by 9, x equals 0. Now watch this. Here I'm going to subtract 8 to both sides. And I'm going to get 2x equals negative 8. And once I divide each by 2, I get x equals negative 4. So even if you don't pull out the greatest, just keep your head about you. Keep doing the problem. Understand the concept. Make the parenthesis equal to 0. You're going to win. Okay, so there we go. There's A and B. I've done 2 of them for you. Hope it went well for you. And if you want to practice a few more, I do have a worksheet number C, and I'll see you there if you need some practice.